I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't.
What's good? We're going to get into WrestleMania 42 predictions. Happy WrestleMania week. It's finally here. As you all know, this is one of the worst WrestleManias thus far that I've seen so far. It's not been a good road to WrestleMania. It's been a very, very piss poor build, but it is what it is. Thankfully, it'll be all over in a couple of days. So there's that. As it stands right now, currently, there are 13 matches total. So night 2 has 6 matches, which is weird. You should be able to have 7 matches across both nights, 14 matches total. So hopefully a match will get added, hopefully, but I doubt it. I doubt it if they'll even do anything on Smackdown. But you never know. Maybe there might be another match added to the night 2 card, but I highly doubt it. But anything is possible. So let's get into the predictions. But before we do, let's talk about WrestleMania 42. So originally, it was supposed to be scheduled for April the 11th and 12th, which was last week at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. But then that got moved to Vegas because of the financial success of last year's Mania at WrestleMania 41. And then Vegas submitted a higher bid, and there was that again. So this is going to be Vegas's third WrestleMania. So it is what it is. It's nothing that can be done, whatever. It is what it is at this point in time. So what's done is done. Hopefully New Orleans will be able to host WrestleMania 44 because we know next year Saudi has WrestleMania. They're going to have WrestleMania 43. In case it doesn't happen, with what's going on, a good backup plan would be to have it in New Orleans just in case, because there's a lot of stuff going on worldwide, politically, with World War III and stuff looming and all that. So as a backup plan, they should have New Orleans on speed dial just in case, but it'll be fine. I'm pretty sure they're going to end up having WrestleMania 43 in Saudi anyway, more than likely, because that's going to be a massive payday for a lot of the top guys. All right, let's go ahead and get into the predictions finally. So I'm going to go over night 1 predictions first, and then I'll do night 2. So for night 1, we have 7 matches, which is fine. That's a good number. Again, I'm hoping that for night 2, they'll be able to have another match added, so that way we can have 14 matches total and not 13. It just seems like an odd number. Well, it is an odd number, but to me, you should be able to have an even number of matches, if we're being honest. I mean, it's your biggest show of the year. All right, so let's start with the 6-man tag. The Vision, featuring Logan Paul and Austin Theory and ISHO Speed, versus the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, and LA Knight. Who wins here? I'm going to say probably the Usos and LA Knight win. That would make sense, if we're being honest. The Vision, they have been dead for a while. Rollins is no longer in the faction. He's been booted out for months now. Braun Breaker's on the shelf. Bronson Reed's on the shelf. And Logan Paul and Austin Theory are just there. And Paul Heyman doesn't give a damn about the faction. So, there's that. So, yeah. I expect for the babyfaces to win, obviously. This should be a fun match, and this is going to be taking place on ESPN, so that's fine. All right, moving on from that. This leads us into Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch needs to win. This would be their third match in the series, and this thing needs to end. I'm shocked that they didn't do a stipulation, which was kind of weird. I thought that they were gonna do a stipulation, maybe like an I Quit match or a steel cage or something like that or whatever, or no DQ or false count anywhere. But no, they're not gonna do any of that shit. They opted out of all that just to do a regular match, which is dumb. But at this point, it is what it is. I fully think that Becky Lynch is going to more than likely win. AJ Lee doesn't need to have the title, and it's just time to move on. You know, they should have really ended this feud months ago. This shit has went on for way too long. If you ask me, it's been going on way too damn long. But it is what it is. All right, moving on. Sticking with the women. Let's go with the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. So as it stands right now, the teams involved are Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, the Irresistible Forces, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and the Bellas. But Nikki's injured right now. So there's that. If Nikki is injured, maybe you add in Asuka and Kyrie. Maybe no, my bad. Not them. Maybe you do Kiana James and Julia. I think that would be good there as a replacement team. I know there have been reports saying that there's going to be a standby match. If Nikki can't go, it's going to be Asuka and Io, which they should be on the card anyway. That should be on night 2, and that should still be able to make the card. Why? Because that's a story that they've been telling for a long time. They've been telling that for a good time since last year. So that's one of their bigger women's feuds that people actually care about. And I'm a fan of both Asuka and Io. And for them to not be on the card, to me, is not good. Like, Asuka's been in WrestleMania. She's been in numerous WrestleManias. Same thing with Io. So it's just like, I don't understand why they can't be on there. Who wins this match? I really don't care. I'm going to go with probably maybe Bayley and Lyra win, maybe. But as a dark horse, I'll probably go with the Bellas just in case they show up. All right, moving on from that, this leads us into Seth Rollins versus Gunther. This is going to be one of the work rate matches of the night. Gunther more than likely will win here. I would imagine this is where Braun Breaker shows up, and maybe he cost Seth Rollins the match, and then that way we can get Rollins and Breaker that we were supposed to get at Mania. We can start to build towards that. I would probably hold their match off until probably SummerSlam or maybe even Money in the Bank. I would just go ahead and just do Money in the Bank. But you should have, Gunther should go over if you ask me. Rollins has just been there just to be there. And this match was just put there because both guys needed to be on the card, and there's that. So it is what it is. Again, Seth Rollins has been a background player for years now. Triple H is still trying to make him seem like he's a top guy, but he's not, man. That's past Seth Rollins by. Like, this isn't like 2018, 2016, 2017. Like, come on. Like, Rollins was on top a decade ago. Enough. So I think Gunther wins. Moving on. Stephanie Vacker versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. I'm going to go with Liv Morgan. Now, there's been a bunch of brawling and stuff between them, and the reason is because, we all know that Stephanie's English is not the best, and it's a true statement. So yeah, the match should be solid. It should be a fun work rate match for sure. Liv can go and Stephanie can go. Um, but I do think that they're probably gonna end up having Liv Morgan win. Um, you know, they kind of pushed Stephanie a little bit too fast, if you ask me. If we're being honest, I kind of wish that Stephanie was still back in NXT for a little bit. Honestly, like she should still be back in NXT. Not to say that she's bad, because she's not, but I feel like she needs to be back in NXT just for a little bit. But NXT's women's division is so damn stacked. It's like she didn't need to even be there anymore. But I do expect for Liv Morgan to win more than likely, and it makes sense, right? It really does make sense. You put Stephanie in this chase position, and it works out. Moving on, a match that I'm looking forward to, the unsanctioned match: Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. This match has been built very nicely. This is actually one of the matches that I've been looking forward to the most, next to Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. I think both of those matches have been built tremendously, and both matches are going to be fucking insane. I do expect there to be some interference with this, more than likely. I'm going to go with probably Jacob winning. It makes the most sense. Why would Drew win this? You know, and then my thing is, what do you do uh, when Drew loses? Like, where does he go next? Um, who do you feud with him next? Um, so I don't know. I really don't know, but I think that Jacob Fatu definitely needs to get the win here, and establish him as a top babyface. Well, uh, a top future star, basically. Um, and Drew putting him over would be nice, and I think it should happen. Now let's go to the main event of night one. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. If Randy loses, Pat McAfee will leave the industry forever. Who cares? It's not going to happen. Randy Orton's going to more than likely win. And again, I don't care, because, again, this thing should have been teacher student dynamic from the start. We didn't need Pat McAfee inserted, but we know how Ari Emanuel is. You know how he can be. So, it is what it is. And, according to Ari, Pat McAfee is the next Sylvester Stallone. I'm like, what the fuck? But it is what it is. Whatever, man. Whatever. I don't give a damn. I really don't give a damn. So whatever, man. I don't care. But I do expect for Randy to win more than likely. I expect for both Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee to get involved. So yeah, because Cody's gonna lose that title anyway. He's gonna lose, and this is gonna set up for another match. It's gonna be a tag team match: Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll versus Randy Orton and Pat McAfee at Backlash. So that's coming more than likely. So get ready for that shit. All right. I'm gonna go over my predictions again for night one. Gunther beats Seth Rollins. Braun Breaker will show up and help Gunther get the win. Either Bailey and Lyra Valkyria or the Bellas will win the women's tag team championships. Becky Lynch will beat AJ Lee. Liv Morgan will beat Stephanie Vacker. Jacob Fatu will beat Drew McIntyre. The Usos and LA Knight will defeat The Vision and I Show Speed. And Randy Orton will defeat Cody Rhodes to become the new WWE Undisputed Champion. All right, moving on from that, let's get into night two predictions. So far, right now on the card, there are 6 matches. Yay. There should be a 7th match. Hopefully, Io and Asuka are added to night two, and they should. All right, so let's start with the Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Finn Balor's going to win this more than likely. I mean, whenever he's the Demon, he's in a whole different world. So I do expect for him to win. It's been about 3 years since we've seen the Demon, so that's fine. That'll be good for the Vegas crowd. Clearly, nobody doesn't care about this match once the bell rings. Obviously, basically, but it is what it is. This was teased like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Anyway, we all knew where this was going to go, and I do suspect for Finn Balor to win more than likely. But I also expect for this feud to continue. Maybe Triple H brings in some of the New Japan guys like Evil that are with WWE. So maybe he brings those guys in, basically. So, there's that. But it is what it is. All right, moving on from that. Let's stick with the the 6-pack ladder match. This is going to be for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Penta, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio. This match should be fun. This should get about a good 25-30 minutes. It's going to be a fun car crash. I'm going to go with either Penta retaining or Javon Evans winning, right? Dragon Lee is just there. JD McDonough is just there. Rusev is just there. And Rey, in my opinion, don't need to be competing in ladder matches. Fuck no. Hell no. Don't do that shit. So I'm going to go with Javon Evans or Penta winning. All right, moving on from that. Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. The Amazons. For the WWE Women's Championship. I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley winning, right? Jade Cargill doesn't need this. Maybe Bianca Belair shows up, maybe. I don't know. Hopefully she's well enough to do things, even though she had surgery on her finger. Was it last month or 2 months ago? Can't remember which. But she recently just had surgery not too long ago, so she might make an appearance. But I do see Rhea winning against Jade. Though it would make no sense and make no reason. It would make no sense at all for Jade to retain. There's no reason why she should still be champion. It is what it is. So I do expect for Rhea to win. The fans still love Rhea. Finally, Jade's a heel. Finally, she's got an okay faction behind her. So I do like that. So there is that. So I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley winning. And it makes the most sense. Maybe you do the rematch at Backlash, right? So, there's that. All right, moving on from that. A match that I'm looking forward to on the card, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams for the WWE United States Championship. I'm going to go with Sami Zayn retaining. I don't see them putting the belt on Trick just yet. I think Sami Zayn more than likely will probably cheat to win. They have been teasing a heel turn with him for a while. So we could get like a possible double turn. Maybe Sami beats Trick via underhanded means, like a low blow or something like that or whatever. Or he rolls up Trick and grabs the tights or whatever. And then maybe post-match he attacks Little Yachty. So, there's that. And then maybe you run Trick and Sami back at Backlash, right? So I'm going to go with Sami Zayn winning. I mean, he just got the title, so it is what it is. It sucks that Kamara Hayes won't be on the show, but maybe he'll be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So, maybe he'll do something on Smackdown in regards to that. Actually, believe it or not, that should actually take place on this card, if we're being honest, or at least on the pre-show or something like that. But it's not. Like this is really is what should be on ESPN, and we could save Lesnar and Oba for the main show, but it's fine. Speaking of Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, this is going to be the match that I'm looking forward to the most on night 2. Obafemi and Brock Lesnar should be fun as fuck. It's just two gladiators going at it, you know, fighting for dominance. That's basically what this is about. And Obafemi should win. Oba should win. I feel that he is the next top guy that you should build the promotion around. You know, build him up for a while. Continue to build him up. Maybe you give Brock his win back at some point. Maybe whether it's at SummerSlam or Money in the Bank or whatever, you know, Brock gets his win back at some point, and you can still continue that feud. But I think that Oba needs to go over for their first one-on-one match, right? And this is gonna be great because this is gonna be on ESPN, so tons of people are gonna be watching this, and I'm down for it. This is gonna be some fun shit. This is gonna be great. This will probably go a good 10 to maybe 12 minutes. I'm gonna say 12 minutes max, and it should be great. It's like Godzilla versus King Kong, basically. So good shit. Can't wait for it. All right, main event of the evening: CM Punk versus Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm gonna go with Roman Reigns winning. It makes sense. It seems like they're going to turn Roman heel. Punk has been cutting babyface promos for a minute. Same with Roman. But this story is not what we need, just like Randy Orton and Cody. And, you know, like I said, you had the Usos involved early on as well, which I didn't like. And in this match, there doesn't need to be any interference in this match. If there is, I'm going to fucking scream. Because it's dumb, right? You need to have a definitive winner in Punk and Roman and with Cody and Randy, right? You got to have definitive wins. So CM Punk needs to win. I mean, my bad, not CM Punk, but Roman Reigns needs to win. Roman needs to win. I'm sorry. Roman needs to win. Unapologetically, he needs to win. Now, if he cheats to win, that's fine. But Roman needs to still win nonetheless. So if I was booking things, this is what I would have happen. Towards the end of the match, there's like a ref bump or whatever. Roman goes for like a Superman punch. Punk gets out of dodge. Roman clocks the ref. Then Roman and CM Punk, they break the announce table or whatever. Roman brings in like a steel chair or whatever. Punk takes the steel chair from Roman, beats him up with it. And then you have CM Punk about to go for the GTS. Roman basically rakes the eyes of Punk. He does a spear, and maybe he does a guillotine choke. The referee comes to, and CM Punk taps out or he passes out. And I think that's how I would book it, you know, because you want Roman to win in kind of like dominant fashion, but you kind of want him to cheat to do it. But I mean, to cheat by himself, you know, like I said before, have him use a weapon or, you know, low blow or anything like that or whatever. But cannot have the fucking Usos in this thing, right? And I think the reason why they're doing this and putting the title back on Roman is because they're setting up for Rock and Roman more than likely next year at WrestleMania 43. Although this is a match that we should have got at WrestleMania 40. It didn't happen. It is what it is. And ever since then, Roman's like, fuck this, I'm out. Like, he's really been like that for a while. So, and you know what? I can't blame him. I really can't blame him, you know. And I do feel that Roman's lost his aura and everything. Same thing with CM Punk. I feel like both of them kind of lost their aura a little bit. Now, Punk he's redeemed himself, basically, with cutting some decent promos, especially him dropping the pipe bomb. That was pretty well done. A little bit too much inside baseball, but it is what it is. But it's fine. So I do like that. But I do think that Roman should win, cheat to win, and that's what we do. So yeah. All right, let's get into the predictions again. I'm going to go to the predictions one more time. So Finn Balor wins, Demon Balor wins, Sami Zayn retains the U.S. title by cheating. Rhea Ripley, she wins the women's championship. Javon Evans or Penta win the six-pack challenge for the WWE Intercontinental Championship match. Obafemi defeats Brock Lesnar. And Roman Reigns defeats CM Punk to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. And those are my predictions. Like I said before, hopefully Io and Asuka get added to the card because they need to. They've been telling the story with both of them for well over a year, so they need to be added to the card. But all in all, hopefully WrestleMania is good. I am kind of excited for this. I'm just excited for a few matches. Punk Roman a little bit. Jacob, Drew, Oba, Brock. And the ladder match should be fun. Everything else, I can kind of take it or leave it. And Randy and Cody should be okay, too. Even though the story has been shit. Match-wise, it should be okay. But what are your predictions for WrestleMania? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe.